teams on stage right now are going to have some great minds behind them, especially you cannot downplay Looney whatsoever in the career that he's had across Call of Duty.
Yeah.
But then you think about, somebody like Optic, when you have either JP behind the team or Karma. I mean, those are two players that you feel really safe with just listening to. It's going to be fun to see how these coaches have impact.
It certainly will indeed. Well, that's enough rambling from us up here. Our first game of the day is ready to go. It's G2 versus C9, and boys, it's over to you.
All right, let's get into this one already. It's the first pop here on the rewind, and it will be a bit of a start here for G2. And they will look to start strong, but as we all know, P1, it's okay as a helm, but it's all about P2.
This is immediately something where you look towards this Cloud9 team to try to flip this map right away. You can see G2 are putting a lot of focus on not crossing through P1 too far. You can see Geo is going to try to pick off some of these spawning players, but they've done a fantastic job right now, Bryce, of drawing a line in the sand, dominate P1, and see if you can keep that bleeding going into the money hills.
Well, this is where it does get a bit impactful for these teams, and obviously things are happening on the map here, and we'll find out exactly how it is all going down. A little bit of adjustments, a little bit of a stall. Unsure what exactly is happening. It looks like the players may have stopped at this point.
Yeah, I don't think they're playing anymore.
No. Unless they're really talented and playing one-handed. Maybe they're a lot better than they gave them credit for. Seems like we may have a small delay to kick things off, and if I was a guessing man, I'm thinking that we probably had that mini-map issue.
That would be a good guess. I'd say, I think that this is going to be one of those things that we got to roll with across a couple of these delays. But for this one in particular, I was really impressed with the start that G2 had off that. I mean, they were doing everything right, barring maybe Cloud9 had a little bit of an issue off the gap there. They weren't all, put together, but G2 dominated the start of that game. They looked good, and I think that off the brief initial litmus test that we do get, not too bad from this G2 squad.
Well, we didn't get an awful lot to see as we go through it, so hopefully we will find out exactly kind of what is happening now. I imagine a restart. We see some of the players still locked into their screen, but also conversations with the coaches going on. Nobody seeming particularly pleased at the moment, but with only 30 seconds of gameplay, who knows?
I know a lot of asked, the question of who do you think is the better squad, but right now, off of both of these, I got to talk about their S&Ds. Where do you think you rate both of these two teams against each other?
Oh, against each other? Well, to be honest with you, one of the things we talked about beforehand was these two teams, I think, will probably be quite even coming into this. Obviously, Cloud9 with a bit of a roster change. I think G2 have been underwhelming all year. I was hoping to kind of maybe see them excel a little bit more in some cases, but it's one of those teams you're like, oh, they're also here. And again, this is the point. The pressure is on for both of them. They want to have a good result here. Yeah. They were what, 9th or 10th during the season? But now this is an opportunity to be better than that.
And if you can break through that into the Saturday and Sunday, make a deep run, it completely changes your narrative. It completely changes the way that people are going to be looking towards you, especially into the Black Ops 7 year. And for a lot of these players, this is hard work because you think about as a team in general, you miss out on the end of the season. That just means you have more time to go over what those mistakes were. And I think for both of these two teams, they needed that reset. They needed a chance to just sit back, reset, figure out those mistakes, go into EWC with a brand new look. And that's why I'm putting a lot of emphasis on how important this match is on both sides, because you needed to have that lull in just playing match after match to really isolate what the issues were. And I'm expecting that they're coming into this tournament with an answer to that.
Well, you'd hope so. The only answer I'm really looking for at the moment is what's happening. When are we coming back? At the moment, it looks like there are members of staff on stage, so clearly we are experiencing some sort of issue, because this could have been a lobby restart. Both teams obviously not leaving the stage yet, so that leaves us hopeful that this will restart very, very quickly. The key thing to look for here is the fist bumps.
Yeah.
Once the fist bumps impact, that's when you know. That's a little trade secret for you all watching at home.
I think I just want to see these players continue to talk amongst each other. I mean, we talk about how important it is for the coach to keep up the mentality, the vibes across both, Cloud9 and G2. But at the same time, you look at, Everybody's going to be chatting with each other on stage. These players are going to be lifting their spirits across the entirety of these matches. And I'm looking at this Cloud9 team, and I'm just seeing those mouths move right now. They are chatting about everything going back into this one. They know they got shut out in that map one off their initial break-off. They get a second chance at it. So, I mean, if you look at it from that perspective, hey, you know, why not take another chance at it?
Well, maybe a different break. Maybe we talked about the coaches beforehand, you know, what are they going to bring here? Well, they might say, all right, we have to go to a different hardpoint break because that last one either went great for us or bad for us, but it doesn't really matter because the other team now knows. So maybe you're confident enough to go for the same chow again or not, but also you got to remember nades and tacticals will be flying straight into those points. So a little bit of conversation, different break, different way, different timing for these two teams. We just wait here on the technical pause.
I think the one thing that I'm really excited for this G2 team, and it's one thing that I was waiting for them to showcase in the year, was you know, players like Estriel and Geo who come into the league in MW3, like on the brink of MW2 making it there, and you know, they looked good, but for this title in general, putting them on the same team, I mean, these were Rookie of the Year caliber players back at MW3 that we were looking at across their respective teams. For Black Ops 6, it's been good, but it's where I referenced back at the start of the year. It seemed like this team was a jack of all trades, master of none. I mean, you had, you know, players who were good in each individual game mode, but they then falter in other ones as well. And when you look at, you know, this team in G2, I'm hoping that they come out into this respawn. They show that they've been working on a couple of these things, and they have that consistency across it because, again, I mean, one thing, especially in the off season that we were talking about, is that you got 5 Fears in this group. G2 lost to them in an online tournament, that 5 Fear squad. And 5 Fears are going to know that. They're going to look at that and take that momentum, take that excitement back into the match when they do play against G2. And you have to think that's going to be pecking at the back of your head once you're into that match, once you're in that server against that team, knowing that you've lost to them in the past. It can happen again.
It certainly can, and the issue this time might be a little bit more severe, of course. If you do go out of this tournament, your key will be crushed. So obviously don't want to lose that, as both teams have brought their keys here. That kind of gives them the right to compete at this event. Losing that key means you are completely out. Obviously, the winner of the tournament does get to kind of take I think it's 3 of those crushed keys and then put them into their own trophy case. So it's an interesting dynamic between these two teams, is obviously playing for more than just pride.
I love that. I think the system is so fun to watch, and especially for this year of EWC, we've seen it just get elevated even more. They moved the Crusher into the stadium, which is so cool for the teams to be able to do that in front of the crowd. Everybody showing their reactions, their raw emotions towards it as well. And then you add the, you know, excitement of being able to put other teams' keys inside your trophy or around your trophy inside the resin as well. It adds that extra, I want to say, like, competitiveness against each other. You know, then you know that you were on their minds once you're in their trophy and they wanted to beat you at the same time. But I think that you look at these keys, both of these teams want to avoid it being crushed. It's going to be a hard road to keep it uncrushed, especially for the narrative that we've set for both of them.
All right, looks like we've reached a point. Both teams have headsets on. Coaches are now talking. They look a little bit more locked in. So that, to me, in my infinite wisdom, looks a little bit more solid. Unfortunately, on the Cloud9 side, it does seem to be something happening with the player station. So at the moment, G2 look ready. Cloud9 still final tweaks to get this one back underway. Hopefully, this is only a minor issue and should be solved any second now. That's at least what we've been told through our headsets. Just a tweak of some settings to get this fully functional and running through. But the teams are ready. They came straight here from the opening ceremony, ready to play.
I can't wait to look back at that opening ceremony. It sounded awesome. I think that the fact that you get to be here in general for these two teams, you know, for any of the teams, it's going to be so exciting. The atmosphere around the Boulevard is just so welcoming towards the teams. They are getting fist bumps from the passing people in the crowd, just on arrival. I mean, you see the content pieces and everything around EWC. These players and their stories are put on display just fully. So I'm excited to see how that just continues to develop across all these players throughout the entire week, to see if anybody in general is going to take that, you know, excitement from the crowd, excitement from around the Boulevard, put it into their performance. And, you know, you never know who's going to turn up in Call of Duty. It can just change from tournament to tournament.
It certainly can. And that is the question we are asking, the question we will continue to ask, and the question that we hopefully will get an answer to very, very shortly. For those of you watching at home, being perfectly clear at the moment, it still seems like adjustments on the Cloud9 side are happening. Hopefully that will be resolved pretty quickly. Not as much staff here as there was beforehand, but it does seem like one side of the stage is ready. The other side just seems to be one person setup, so nothing too major, hopefully.
I like seeing the smiles. You know, when you see smiles, you know the vibes are still good. You know that things aren't totally chalked on either side going into that first match. But yeah, I definitely think that, you know, there's some issues over to that Cloud9 side. They don't look as ready as G2 do fully. So I'm ready to get into this map as soon as they are. And I think for both of these two teams, they want to get it going just as much as you guys do at home. So we're just waiting on that call, Bryce.
We certainly are. It's all a matter of waiting, really. Like I said, there's not a lot else we can do. So while we're waiting, well, here's an interesting kind of part for you. The heat out here is actually something I've never experienced in my life. It is quite unique.
It's different.
The weather outside, it is unbelievable, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. It kind of defies expectation, if you were ever wondering what it was like to come to Riyadh. I can tell you that if you turn your oven on and then open it and you get that waft of hot air in your face, it's like that, but it never relents.
It's always there. As soon as you open the door, you go outside. Even sometimes it bleeds inside too. It is different. I agree. It's something that, you know, even from the east coast of Canada, I'm not used to whatsoever. It's nice at times, but
is the east coast of Canada warm?
It is. It's very humid. So out here, it's dry. It's a different type of heat. I prefer the dry heat, just in general. But this is a different level.
Yeah. It really is, of course.
I think for some of the players too, they're probably...
Well, that's one of the questions we spoke about a little bit. Obviously, this is not something that we normally would discuss too heavily on broadcast, but you got to remember a lot of these players have traveled, especially from North America. The travel day from North America is, from what I understand, incredibly long. So these players obviously trying to get back into their routines, trying to be comfortable so they can play at their very best. At the moment, they all seem pretty fine. I know actually some of the talent are really struggling. Some of them have not been sleeping very well.
Yeah, I mean, can't say the same over here, at least for the desk. But no, I mean, what? You're traveling from even Toronto for myself. It was a full 24-hour travel day for some of these players, even coming from the west coast of America. You just imagine how long that travel day is going to be. Yeah. You get, you know, the rehearsal day, the media day, to see if you can get over that jet lag to get into today. And it's almost roles reversed. Yeah. And that's why I like when we don't always have tournaments in North America, because, you know, sometimes we have to deal with, you know, European players traveling over and having that jet lag. And now we get to look at the North American players and see how they can deal with that jet lag.
They certainly will. And just had a little eye on Spart there. I know Mama Spart probably watching at home, very happy to see. But I believe we've been told by production that this issue is basically remedied. I think all the players are loading back in.
Just figuring out some of those technical finishes, seeing if everything is good. You get those ready checks, you get those fist bumps. Like you said, we're looking for the fist bumps, Bryce. Once they come flying out, we know that these players are. And hey, I like seeing some of the staff walk off that stage because it means we are getting closer to this map one.
Oh. Kenny's still very much in high spirits.
I don't think I've seen this G2 team actually not smile across this entire break. They've been having a good time. They've been having a great time over there, just waiting for this one. It's the difficulty right now of if you're dealing with issues, if you're Cloud9, you put yourselves in their shoes of it was a tough break off into that rewind hard point. You're staggered into now this break, the technical issues, you're trying to fix it. This is where you have that extra layer that we're talking about with the coaches, is that you now need somebody to reel them back into this game, to lock them in. And you can see that the players are getting ready to do it. But having that extra coach is going to go a long way right now after this reset.
Well, it looks like the staff have left the stage. It looks like the players are finally getting locked in. Everybody leaning back forward as well. So that is nothing but a positive sign. We should have this map 1 underway any second now. I do apologise for the small delay there, but obviously players have to have everything perfect ready for them. We want a fair competitive game. We want everything locked in. So let's see. How are these teams ready to go into this next one?
If you were in a position for both of these teams, when you look at being on a reset, how would you kind of deal with that reset? How would you deal with going into that next game?
Well, first of all, the game's starting. What I would say is, realistically, it's only played 30 seconds, so it's basically like a brand new start, a brand new time. And, well, this one now underway here as both teams, again, throw something back into it as well. And that is an unbelievable call from the beginning here. Certainly hyped up from the rip. I actually didn't catch who that was.
That was definitely Sib. 20 seconds in off the break, and we're getting dead calls from that main stage. We're talking about how you're going to lift the spirits, how you're going to get yourself back into this game. Well, right away, Cloud9 not only have the initial time off P1, unlike we saw before that reset, but they've also flipped things out for the P2 Roto.
This is where you will look to take a little bit of this scrap time. Just try to even up the score a little bit before you get through. That's a big kill by Geo. Will split Cloud9 a little bit. They'll have to keep an eye on it as well. You can already see the spawn out coming from them. Just trying to deflect the pressure. G2 Esports looking to try and squeeze. They already get themselves back into that P2, but they've got to hunt down the players they know are running around.
I love the dynamic that we're seeing from Cloud9 right now. A lot of pressure back over towards Old. You have a player inside Elephant, 2 locking down those spawns. And as soon as you clear out that P2, Spart's going to get aggressive. He's going to be in a position that nobody's going to check for that P5 presence.
Careful, here comes the first couple of chows. Trying to get this one down as well, but at the moment, Cloud9 all good. Just locking it down with a point, and there's the last kill as well, and Krem sends that one into the stratosphere with the shouts here. They are really looking to push G2 to the edge.
A lot of focus onto Gwyn, Sib, and Kremp. We didn't talk about Spart at all going into this game. 8-4 inside of this rewind, and he is so far lighting it up. One of the newer members in the season for this team joined in, and I'm loving it so far. Cloud9, a fantastic opening to this game. 54 playing 21 heading into P3. Finally, G2 are going to have an initial setup and the back spawns. It's just, can you win these gunfights?
And that's what they'll be looking to do. At the moment, just trying to hold off. They're not really able to, but at the moment, G2 just picking up the points they need. Big kill here for Nero. Knows somebody's close. Staying alive, just trying to play his life as long as possible to this point. Eventually will go down from a kill. I think it was Gwyn and Kreb who combined to get that one done as the hill goes free.
But a 25-second break there for Cloud9. You have the back spawns flipped out. It is overtime for G2 to see if they can flip these as fast as possible and get set up over towards P4, the money hill of Rewind. But they have brought this game back, looking to flip this lead. They just have one player to deal with, Kremp in the backline. It's a 1 versus 1 for Kenny to see if he can weather this storm. But Gwyn's going to pick that up, and Cloud9 hold on to the rotation.
And so far, realistically, points between these two squads are pretty close. Certainly not enough of a lead yet to write home about. But with this rotation, Cloud9 will look to try and put a button on it. Will they be able to hold this first bit of pressure? G2 Esports spreading out, looking for a bit of a pick here, and the team kill gone down. Haven't been able to get much ready for it as Cloud9. That's a wild chow to go for it, but Cloud9 do get the better of these trades.
Yeah, Nero tries to go for the outer run, see if he can pull a fast one onto Sib, but not able to do it quick enough. Mistakes are made, and that is bleeding through in terms of this scoreline. Back up to a 50-point lead for Cloud9 into the first rotations of this rewind. So G2 doing everything they can to see if they can pull things away. Hold to nothing right now. Fully snuffed out of this hill. G2, they need this P5 to go their way. This is a snowball so far for Cloud9.
And this is everything they wanted. I said this hill could be key. Give them that lead that they need. As we head back in towards P1 for G2, a bit of damage control. Sorry, not P1. We go back into the next hill. But this is good. I mean, realistically, if G2 can hold this, an opportunity to strike back in the points department. So far, so good. But look at the players, every single side, they haven't really managed to reduce those numbers at all.
They just walk in, nobody's watching. This is every setup that G2 have had has been broken within 20 seconds, and it happens again in P5. Kenny on a solo mission to see if he can break in. Gwyn's going to win a huge gunfight. Reinforcements already here, and there is nothing that can break C9.
Well, they're having a very good time with it as well, but they're still trying to make something happen at the same time, but you can hear the shouts from the stage. Cloud9 continue to put the hurt onto G2 Esports. It has been a miserable time for them since the off. Gwyn is on an 8 streak at the moment, 13-5, still sitting on to this point. Will they be able to shut him down on a 9 streak now?
Whatever it was, that was the issues before the reset. Surely this is showing that they're solved. Cloud9 looked like a different beast, but finally something to talk about for G2. Into the second set of rotations, wipe the slate clean, see if you can get a level mind going into this one, start to put some kills up on the board, but as soon as they do, Cloud9 answer back with a clean 4 down in the feed, and they flip the spawns.
And this is the issue. G2, now the question is, can they get above 100 points? They are being battered all over Rewind. And eventually a couple of kills going their way will allow them to get back onto this point. 30 seconds potentially into the pocket. The P2 rotation will be vital.
And you think about it here, Bryce, you get the P2 rotation, you get 30, 40 seconds off of that. You're nearing in what could be slowly pulling things back in the second set of hills. But this P2 break is going to be super important for G2 just to keep this game in touching distance so far. So you look at this squad to see if they can at least stop the kills from bleeding in, but it's just Gio now to make some issues. He gets 2. It's not gonna matter.
And again, same story that we've told over and over again. Cloud9 looking at dominant position. Cloud9 putting up the kills. An incoming missile from the sky as well. Looking to really put this one out of all contest. Extra will go down to it, but Gio's managed to find a kill here. Hope still alive. G2 Esports trying to get some pressure onto this point.
Gio is slowly picking away at this, but he just has no assistance around these hills. A lot of 1v1s being taken from G2. And Cloud9, they are happy to fight against it. We can see it here. I mean, Gwyn, he is 19-9. Almost a 2 KD right now as he goes down in that gunfight, but fantastic start from the new player for C9. He is exactly what they are asking for.
Well, that was the question. We were seeing whether or not Gwyn could perform in a different structure, and so far so good. Really having a great time against G2, and there are points available for G2 now here onto this hard point. But it may be a mountain too big to scale. It may be too little too late, and it certainly will be if they are destroying them like this. And maybe we'll talk about Cloud9. They came into this one with fire in their breath straight away, and you can tell why.
It looks effortless from their side. Every single chow, it's smooth. The baits, the switches, the game one goes their way. And there was no contest from G2 at all in this map. Cloud9 for the debut of Gwyn in their roster. How about that?
Well, that is certainly a statement for them here as well. A re-evaluation of these teams. Nobody expected Cloud9 to come out that powerfully. Nobody expected Cloud9 to really just detonate all of G2's hopes in that very first point.
It really comes down to a couple of these performances from G2 that we were asking for that consistency. The slaying wasn't there. The setups just kept on getting picked apart from hill to hill. Every single time they tried to get ahead of the play, somebody would sneak through, and you're just not communicating or picking up that lane. It seems like there's a lack of a priority somewhere on the map from this squad, but hardpoint was something that they were hoping to fix going into this tournament. Seems like there are still some issues, Bryce.
Well, let's find out. Is this just a slow start? Is this just the very first map of the tournament? Well, first of all, it is, but is this going to be what we expect going forward?
Sometimes you just have those slow starts. Sometimes you just need to shake off a little bit of that rust. It's a different atmosphere being in EWC. Pressure certainly going to be felt when all eyes are on you. And it's a different level for sure. So going into this second map, We talked about G2, how good they would be in the search and destroys. You're going to dealerships, which is something that you were very comfortable with in the past. So no doubt in my mind that they can get that mental reset going. It just seems like they're going to have a couple issues themselves to figure out.
Well, maybe with the coaches on the stage here, G2 will be having a very good pep talk and trying to focus on to this S&D. Redemption just always a map away, as well as tying this game up, but we will see. If anything, I was a little bit disappointed with that hardpoint. I thought it would be a closer contest to kick things off.
And it was for the first 3 hills. It wasn't until that P5 setup that you saw from G2. No idea how Cloud9 just completely walks through P1, flips it over towards green, and then they're able to just walk in the back door and nobody's watching it. You need somebody to be set up either towards RV or the back of P2 to be watching that. Somebody in a position to at least get that information. But without that information, it just seemed like Cloud9 constantly were able to put together these breaks within the first couple of seconds of these hills. And it's just something that is unacceptable really at this level, at this kind of time of the year, especially for some of these maps that you've been practicing for months now.
Well, we will see. Everybody should be loading into the S&D pretty quickly. Obviously, it's less of a break for the coaches to come. Well, they're already there. They're already in the comms. Don't have to worry about putting their headsets on and talking to the team. If you're G2 side, this is all about forgetting that first map. Yeah. It's all about moving on, ignoring everything that just happened because none of it was very pretty. For Cloud9, of course, keep doing what you're doing. I mean, they don't look very happy either, which is the concerning thing.
I think that's just some of the players, because we even saw during the small little tech break that we had between the start of map 1 and the restart is they look like they were chilling, relaxed, calm. Most of the time, we're expecting them to, get loud. And it wasn't until we got into that reset that you actually started to hear it 20 seconds in. Sib makes the dead call, and it seemed like the game was dead at that point. The energy was not matched on the other side. And that's something that I think is going to play a little bit of a part in this match, because you even see it, for G2 and their players just overall, Bryce. I've not seen a single player on that side that is going to be able to match that energy that you usually hear from Kremp and Sib when it comes to them shouting at you across the stage.
Yeah, and I think that level of energy off the rip should have told us straight away what they were expecting. Yeah. When you go into a P1 and you shout dead within 3 seconds, well, that's not normal, and it does mean that they're certainly flying high in spirits, or at least trying to get that mental edge, and maybe that's just what it is. Go in, be incredibly confident. That delusional confidence is something that players have spoken about across the years. You have to be delusionally confident. No one can gun me. I'm the best in the game. Obviously, statistically, we know they're not. But for every player in their own head being a competitor, you have to have that underlying confidence.
You have to have that ego, that extra little bit that makes you know that when you take this chow, you are the better player. But I think for Gwyn, certainly that was the case. I mean, we talked about him into that third rotation of the second set. He was 21-10 with 2 minutes in the hill. When you talk about a roster change, just trying to elevate your team and kind of pack a punch them into the next level, somebody like that for Gwyn, that is, you're asking for a lot, and he just gave you it bar for bar. Everything that you can ask for in a player on a team change like that, Gwyn delivers, and I think that that's something that we expected for him, but to see it in real time, it's pleasant to see.
Well, at the moment, we'll find out if this series is all going Cloud9's way, or whether or not the S&D turns the tide. For G2, obviously, we'll have to make up that point they just lost in this best of 5. Cloud9 continue as they want, and I would say I thought this would be starting pretty swiftly, but considering a sort of player put their hands above their head, maybe not.
Headsets off for Kremp, so we got a couple more seconds to vamp here, Bryce, before we get into this map number 2. And just in general, too, I'm trying to think about, how this is going to ripple and impact across, not just the hard points, but the search for Cloud9. And kind of mentioned briefly while Lottie was here that, having Capsule on your roster, I mean, he is a fantastic S&D player. And I don't want to take anything away from Gwyn. I mean, he's going to be fantastic in his own rights as well, especially when you look at the amount he's able to just play his life within those objectives for hardpoint. You now free him up in a search and destroy, allow him to go rogue alongside Kremp. These are two extremely fast SMG players that can really take over a game. And For a map like Dealership and the way that it plays, the rhythm that we do see for this map, it really values that individual play. When you can go on an island, be confident, and take those challenges, Cloud9 were showing that in the map 1. G2 have to be scared.
Well, we'll find out. A little bit different here as they get onto this one as well. Nero finds Kremp straight off the rip, though. And Kenny finds Spot. I will tell you now that the colors have changed in the kill feed, so hopefully it doesn't throw you too much, as it has been a pretty good start there for G2, instantly wiping out Cloud9.
And the kill feed is G2 in the gray, Cloud9 in the orange, but Dealership is Dealership, and G2 are fantastic at this map. Exactly what I was highlighting for Cloud9, and the amount of individual success that you do find on a map like this, that is what brought G2 across the many hurdles back in the DreamHack qualifiers. So you look towards EWC. So far in round 1, nothing changes. A successful defense to open up the map.
Let's find out. This is what G2 wanted. Good start on the S&D. Estriel also looking for anything they can find. Just throwing the shoulder over and over again.
And it looks like this one's going to be a play over towards B. Fast Sip draws first blood. That's going to slow you down. Bomb recovered, but where do you go from here?
Oh, trying to get one as well. They're not able to. Sib shuts down Kenny. Nero and Gio trying to just see if they can get a kill back. This is all going to be about Nero. If he can make a hero play, finds one! Not going to be the second. Kremp will shut him down before he can equal the score. And now Gio alone, outnumbered, no bomb. 40 seconds to go.
Hoping that somebody was flanking. Nobody does. Easy trade. If not, you don't even need it. Cloud9 answer back right away. Big shutdown over towards B, something that G2 loves to do early on. Trying to see if they can poke holes in that defense, and it just does not happen whatsoever. And I like that too from Cloud9. And this is a team that reasonably you look at, you see them oftentimes get aggressive off those initial kills. They don't do that. Sib gets that first blood. They sit, they wait, they allow G2 to make mistakes, and they punish them straight up.
All right, well, back to 1-1 between these two squads, and we will see who comes out on top. Here comes the push already. Kremp has to back down, was about to throw it out the door, has gone for it as well, but G2 Esports, they now know that there is pressure over towards A. Trophy's already going to be down as well. Kremp just double checking he's back here. Looking to get the bomb down here at G2, but also baiting out. That's what they're taking so long for.
They're hoping somebody makes that mistake, see if you can get that first blood, but here comes the full send. Trophy's down, but aggressive is Cloud9 on this attack, and Spark lines you up. Estriel's gonna get caught, everything down to Geo. It's not gonna make any difference. A fast round from Cloud9 on their attack.
Great take there. Secured what they needed to, got the pressure in, took control of the map away, and when the pressure did eventually swing in from Cloud9, G2 just won all the gunfights.
That's a hard thing too. I mean, over towards A, you give up that site so early, trying to retake that seems so difficult. And Cloud9 were giving you no options to have Spark play so aggressive. He's 3 in a row right now. Gotta keep your eyes on him to see if he can bring that streak even further.
A lot of pressure, a lot of nades. Don't want to get into a position on this one that doesn't benefit them, but already with Kenny holding this one down, they know they have an opportunity for it. Kenny's got to be careful. Someone's going to look out at this as well, but already down to a 3 versus 3. Both these teams ready to strike into it. As soon as bomb goes down, we may see Spark look for it. Kenny's going to turn around, misses the wrong moment for it at the same time. Still alive. Kremp's going to fall as well.
And Nero may have just bailed you out. He's going to have the full post plant, force you to re-rotate and clear your spawn. That's exactly what Cloud9's going to do. Nero spots it, he runs away.
Smart, looking to just try and take control back here. They know they've got 24 seconds as well. Gwyn finds one. All down to Nero in a 1 versus 2. He has to play the timing correctly, looking for one. Already puts a few bullets into the teeth, but still trying to stay alive. A little bit of movement is going to go down to Spart. Maybe too much, did not know where that second player was going to be. caused him to second guess. Gwyn will get that kill. That will be the diffuser as well. 3-1, Cloud9.
It's good finesse. Nero does a lot in that round to give you that chance, but losing Astral puts you in such a rough spot with still 20 seconds left. So much time for Cloud9 to sit and wait for him to make the mistake. Unfortunately, the Chal out, he thought he was going to have the timing there. But no, Cloud9 still continue to succeed in these rounds. And on defense there too, for the retake at B, they give G2 that chance off the plant. And I really thought that that was going to be one that they were going to be able to put away. Fortunately enough, though, for Cloud9, they are all over the case right now for Search and Destroy. So now swapping back onto the offensive side. Gwyn's going to get caught immediately. Nice shots from Gio.
Smart, though. Actually managed to get a car bomb onto Gio. And now down to a 3 versus 3. For G2 Esports, they do have control of B. They're going for a full wrap. They're going through the spawn here. This should catch Cloud9 out. This is not a normal tactic. And now they have to fight for it, but they've been caught. Kenny's already found one. And this play, this bold play, has fallen apart a little bit, but Sib's there! Sibs finds two! And now it's G2 Esports, who thought they had got their way out of it. Might be able to do something as Nero will find back one now into a 1 versus 1. Cloud9 and Nero, they have played the game, but still it comes down to just one gunfight.
Nero's played this well, but Sib even better, setting himself up for all three in the round. I'm just going to go for the full wrap here, and I don't know if Sib's going to be ready for this.
On the corners, and there it is. Easy find in the end. Nero just went for the wrap, found the kill, and Sib had to look too many different ways in that 1v1, and, well, timing it is.
I was kind of worried, too, because if Sib clutches that, in general, that felt like a dagger round for Cloud9. Just the double kill, it was pure from Sib. So big moment from Nero. He clutches up, wasn't able to get it done beforehand, but this time he does not falter. So STC clutch on stage. That's going to bring us down into a 1-round difference between these two teams. A big one coming up for G2. See if you can even this one up and deny Cloud9 from pushing even further on the attack. Where do they go?
So far, that's a big pick as well. G2 have already lost Gio. Cloud9 just holding firm. They have B control here. This will be about Spart on the information. Here comes the push towards A. Already, G2 Esports rotating back into this, looking to put some more players onto pedestrian. Finds one, brings it back to a 3 versus 3.
They have all the space towards A, but the bomb is taking so long. Sib's going to catch Nero, and before you're even there for Estral, it's a 1 versus 3. Gets away with his life, brings it into a 1 versus 2. Fortunately enough, you're going to have 2 isolated 1v1s.
Oh, Tim might reach out. This is well. That's going to be a grenade that gets him taken down, but fortunately, the flanker is there in time. It works out, and oh my goodness, that could have gone a different way.
I don't know where that nade came from Kremp, but that was in a perfect spot to give Astral a chance. Tough read on the flank.
Yeah.
And that would have been a big one for Astral to walk away with, but Cloud9, they avoid the even tie on the dealership, bring things back into a 2-round gap, swapping back to the attack. Sib's been lights out for these first bloods, 7 and 4 as well. It's going to be a hit to A.
Here's a big push. They're going for it as well. That is so bold. Nero throws everything he can at the trophy's deflecting as well. Gwyn will find 2. Pressure just mounting here as well. Now G2 find themselves in a little bit of trouble as they get absolutely slapped off the site.
I'm telling you, these guys are loud on the stage, and the energy that's coming out from their gameplay, it is so fast for the break. The initial kills from Gwyn, that's what you picked him up to do, to get aggressive, to make those plays in such a tight timing. And he works it so well. All the attention towards those AR battles. Kremp slips through the small window. You don't even see it coming. And that is the pace that we look for from Cloud9 on any of these smaller maps to really take them over the edge and push through that ceiling that we know from them. They are putting on a clinic so far in this series.
Dib Already taking up preeminent position, but it's Estriel again. He managed to get that first blood, but it all goes down to a 2 versus 2. Sib already finds his second. And G2, obviously this will be map point. They are trying to stay alive as Spark screams into the stratosphere. And they know that was a dominant win there for Cloud9 on the S&D. 2-0 now in this series. A wonderful showing so far.
This is a Cloud9. I expected them to be good, but I didn't expect them to look this dominant against G2. A team that, you know, makes that change with Gwyn, brings him in to pack punch the roster. The slaying was the question if you would feel comfortable. It doesn't get more comfortable than that whatsoever. They are making it look like G2 are a brand new team right now. It's no coordination in those defenses, no coordination back in those hard point rotations. And you are getting picked apart by sometimes just the sheer skill that Gwyn is bringing to this roster. Same with Sib. The fact that he gets away with that double kill in the last round of that search and destroy, it was crazy showings from Cloud9. But welcome back, Lottie.
Thank you very much. Good to be here, actually, in the middle of a series new for me. So much to talk about there. I mean, Cloud9, what a showing! What an entrance to the EWC. And we kind of talked a little bit about pace. I really think the pace is there for Cloud9. Gwyn is clearly bringing a lot to the table, but we also mentioned superstars, and Sib, for me, has been a big superstar so far. Brycey, what do you make of it? Because I think Sib has just leveled up, clearly.
I think it's all kind of from that first hard point, right? That's when you could kind of feel how this series was going. Such loud shouts already from that side of the stage. They've come into this with some fury. And to do that and be that confident off the rip shows you that they feel well prepared. They feel very, very confident. And hey, it's been showing.
You said it yourself, who wants it more? That's one of the biggest things that you need to bring to the table is who is going out there, who is trying their best, who is here and showing up. And quite frankly, right now it's been Cloud9. I've got to ask a little bit about Kenny's performance in that first hard point. Wasn't the start you wanted to see there, Seymour? What do you think was going on in terms of why Kenny wasn't able to kind of, I don't know, pull out the bag that we can usually really see him do, you know, in big tournaments like this?
Well, it was different because they came out the gates strong just before the reset, but after it just looked like they were deflated. The communication seemed off. They were letting players through, and you never really were setting yourselves up for areas where Kenny could make those plays. And I think that, you know, you go and you look back at that series, even in that search and destroy, there were just areas where they were double challing together in situations where maybe you could have just held. There were situations where they were making play calls that seemed like you were walking into a trap, and, you know, surprised they were. And, you know, you look at the hard point in general for Kenny's performance. I mean, it's hard when you're getting broken in the first 20 seconds of a hill. I think that it trickles down to just more than Kenny's performance across it. I mean, it was tough. It's been a rough year for him just in general, but the entire team was lacking a lot across those first two maps.
Yeah, they certainly were indeed, and I think you're right in saying it doesn't just come down to that one individual performance. I think there's a lot more that goes into that, and like you said, it's to do with how the team are carrying themselves, and often that kind of gets put into the case of a kind of poor KD here. But I've just got to say, I think for G2, they just looked a little bit lost at times, like you mentioned, just doing some unconventional things, and the habits kind of pushing forward from a team that really you wouldn't expect to see some of those things out of. But for the likes of Cloud9, their rotations look really sharp. They look like they knew exactly what they were doing heading into gunfights. They had the numbers most of the time. And honestly, that really kind of occurred going into the S&D as well. I think they had a really good, solid plan. The only time, unfortunately, their plan didn't work out was that one where G2 had that really unconventional wrap, Bryce, that you mentioned there. And then Sib, unfortunately, post-plant, didn't really have the best setup there, and Nero did catch him out. But talk to me about that unconventional wrap. I'm curious to know what you kind of spotted there from G2 and maybe what they were trying to accomplish with it.
So one of the things in S&D that is almost a fundamental here is that you shouldn't be giving an enemy player 1v1s, right? And when you go for any sort of wrap in that regards, it's so much about timing. You have to be a little bit lucky. You have to try to get it at the right time. Obviously, when you go all the way around, it does give you the advantage. If you can pull it off, you will have the advantage of hitting a player from two different angles. But, like I said, you give up a lot for that. You can give up some map control, you can give up your ability to trade, you can give up the ability to have an outnumbered situation.
It's even the round prior to that clutch from Nero, when you saw Estriel and Nero in a 2 versus 2. He jumps into the side window, traps all the way back into the garage, and you just leave Estriel alone to make that play, to hold them there for that long. Cloud9's not going to let that happen. And it kind of goes through that pace that we're talking about them set. As soon as they see that you're alone, they're going to jump onto that opportunity to pick you from that scenario. And that's where they're really finding value in this series, is recognizing that those timings that Bryce is mentioning are a little off right now for G2, and it's opening up these opportunities for Cloud9.
That's the name of the game. Capitalize on the mistakes, and you will push forward, and that's exactly what Cloud9 are doing. Let's take a look at the maps and modes right now, because that third map, a swing map potentially for G2, is Hacienda Control. Now, we talked a little bit about the S&D here, Seymour, and you were really favoring G2 for that. Hasn't quite gone the way for G2 here. However, do you think that they can polish things up heading into this Control? It's something pretty different when it comes to the respawns. Do you see them pushing this one forward and potentially starting to ease into the series a bit better?
But I was going off of full vibes going into this tournament for G2. I thought everything was going to be ready. I mean, you had that downtime at the end of the year to fix some of these issues, get that structure in place. It doesn't look like there's any structure at all in those first two maps whatsoever. In this Hacienda Control, if things continue the way that we're seeing them, no, I don't think so. Cloud9 are just running through this series.
Yeah, they certainly are. I think right now it's going to be very difficult to slow them down, and just in terms of the pace, you know, the momentum. I think that's another thing that we talk about often, is momentum against teams, and how much that can really start to I don't know, just deliver for the ones that are really finding themselves pushing forward, and how difficult it can be to slow a team down. Do you see G2 managing to slow down a team like Cloud9, Bryce?
Truthfully, at this moment, no.
Yeah, that's an easy answer.
G2 have looked a little bit flat coming into this series, and Cloud9 have looked exceptional, right? That's probably one of the best Cloud9 performances we've seen in the entire year. So for Cloud9, this series should be wrapped up pretty quickly, but I don't know.
This is a team of Cloud9 who only has 2 LAN wins on the year. 2.
Yeah.
And they're putting a performance like this on. It doesn't even look close. They have leveled up here to a level that we have no expectations on at this point on where this can go. But for G2 in particular, this is where having a coach behind you needs to pay off. And you look towards Looney to really level these players on that stage, get the vibes back up, bring them together, and get that cohesion into this map 3 on Hacienda. It's never chalked. We know that. And, you know, hey, we know this G2 team, in their history, they have comebacks within them.
They have indeed. Well, into the third map we go, Hassi Control. It's over to you, boys.
All right, let's find out how this one ends up going for G2. A must-win map just to stay in the series and maybe regain a little bit of the face that they've shown so far. It has not been pretty.
And Bryce, one thing I think that you can agree on is that it has to really level up in terms of the slaying from this G2 side, especially in this Hacienda. You don't want to be throwing away those lives for free, but off the break, that's going to be 3 quick kills, and Neo or Chiro is going to bail you out with a well-cooked nade.
This is a crucial time here, realistically. Joe is trying to just hold the fort down, keep them on the back foot, trying to punch them back into spawn. Doing a great job at it as well, but already players have got through. Gwyn, got a bit of a superstar for Cloud9 so far is 4-1. Esther already getting the players as well as they just look to make sure that this is locked and loaded. But we're now finally getting some reinforcements onto the point. Eventually we'll go down to Nero, and all this has done so much so far is just stopping the clock.
This is better. You're trading, you're taking that space, you're pushing Cloud9 back, you're denying these early segments as well, and this has forced Cloud9 to really take a different approach to it. They're going to try to clear up towards Bridge, see if you can get some high ground over towards this B zone, and then jump on together.
Couple of kills going down. Nero finds 2 as well. Cloud9 looking to try and get this one as well. Spark now going to be in a preeminent position, looking for the players off the spawn. Already players like Estriel extending out here to try and find a couple of kills. Very crucial, but Gwyn finds him as well. Time is ticking. They will stop that clock by getting onto B, but can they convert?
They actually have a good setup at the B right now. Kenny going to take care of A. You have a flank forming. Big second one. That opens up Astral to now pinch on that B zone. It's going to force Cloud9 to ping pong back over towards this A zone, but they want that B zone first right now, but it is going to be tough to get this A zone under lock.
Well, they're trying to do it. They're still holding on to A here. A couple of players going Overwatch for their player into the point. Estrel, they know where he is as well. Still going to be weak, does not get chowed straight away. 16 seconds to go, back onto the point. They're on to B, looking to lock it down. These next kills are massive for them as well. Nero managed to find one. Is it going to be enough? Reinforcements backing him up here as they go to fly towards the point. But so far, it's still going to be G2 who have to make this ground up.
Nero's got to go big here. Big slide in. Gwyn for the trade. Still with the contest. They weather in 15 seconds. 6v6, and you are pushed all the way back. It's a race to A. You got no other option.
And Gio, that is a wonderful two-piece as Kenny puts that final nail in by taking down Gwyn. Just had the better position. Spark will find one, but it does nothing but pad the stats. And G2 Esports, a much-needed win on that first round of Control.
I got so worried. I thought the stack at B was going to get the full cap, and I thought G2 were just going to give it up. But a well-timed flank from Nero. He gets in. He saves the day. You have both Estrel and Nero trying to get involved a lot more towards those objectives that was missing back on that rewind. And starting to at least trade each other very well. That's such a difference than what we saw back on that hard point. Not just letting Cloud9 walk all over you. G2, like I said, you don't want to count them out. Still lots of game to be played.
Well, let's find out. Do they get a good start here? That's what they'll be looking for. Spot already going for the challenge. There's going to be players there as well. We'll be calling out to his teammates. Looks like a lot of pressure towards the mid-map, but going for the win. Has had a pretty good series. Did start off 4-1 here, slowed down as it will be Cloud9 that lost control, but they are pushing into this spawn fast. Gwyn is going to look for this one at the same time. Fies, no! Going to be overlooked here, and that could be disastrous. G2 Esports have just been given a lifeline.
It's 3 down, but you don't get towards B before the respawning players are able to get into position to at least defend it. So Nero gets shut down, trying to push over towards Patio. It's going to force a little bit of an audible back onto this A zone. Gio not able to get the second one, and it looks like Krem's trying to go rogue. He's going to pick off Nero in spawn and keep these players away from the zone.
Kenny just performing beautifully so far. Unfortunately, not able to get the kills he was lining up for. Was hoping for a bit more breathing room for his teammates, and now we see that Estrel already behind the lines against Spard and just keeping hopes alive here for G2 on this push.
Now, if we're thinking about the longevity of this map 3, Cloud9 got 2 ticks back in that first round, so G2 still have some work to do before they feel comfortable, and Estrel waiting and hiding 4 in a row opens up a lane towards this B zone, but now it's Kenny who needs help.
Sib looking for it, finds Gio. Looking to just slay out here. They know they have a potential to lock this one down here. Obviously, you're going to see the slow oncoming tick here on to B point. G2 Esports making this a fight, and Gwyn tries to shut it down, not able to get everybody into it. But they do have the bodies back onto B here. Time will continue to tick.
Yeah, 21 seconds. They weren't able to get that second segment over towards B, so G2 still got lots of work here. 2 versus 2 in the trades. 16 seconds left on that time. Not really positioned for Estrel to just jump in, and Gwyn, he's just going to rip him off that heady and keep that time bleeding.
Just a few seconds left to go here. G2, they want a miracle. Need to find it as well, but unfortunately losing bodies all over the map, and one last player will go down. That's a wipe, and that's a tied game. Cloud9 will fight back.
Fortunately enough, if you look for the bright side from G2's performance there, you had those chances over towards B, not really quick enough on that setup to get there to assist Kenny in the setup on B that you wanted. Allows Cloud9 back into it, but you still get both a segment at A and a segment at B. That's going to keep you even looking towards the objective, towards those round 5s if we do go there. And I mean, Bryce, it's Control and Hacienda. How many round 5s have we seen across this year of Black Ops 6? So for G2, I mean, not the best offensive round that you can look for in a map like this, but you had chances, opportunities, and at least you got those segments.
Let's see. Just the beginning of this Control. Still much more to come. Here comes the initial break. Gwyn looking for his first blood. He managed to get one, but unfortunately his team will lose the trades. It is not going to be the fairy tale start they wanted as well. Sib trying to do the same thing, already on a 3 streak at the same point, but at the moment, it will all be about G2. They have the better position on this map. They've just got a full wipe as well, and now they will throw up the defensive wall.
That's 4 down. That's going to be a perfect time to set up. Kenny is firing on all cylinders right now for this game number 3. You have them pushed up into the back quadrant of the map, and Cloud9 trying to work off their spawn, see if they can get over towards B. Astriel, it's his turn now on the flank, looking for the second one, playing his life, burning that time, and doing it well.
They've got a few players that have managed to escape, and this is going to be crucial. If Cloud9 want this, they have to play it perfectly. Right now, G2 definitely have the advantage. Still, trades going down. Kenny getting another one here as he hits 21 and 11. Just a phenomenal game so far from him on this control, and definitely the difference maker, but bullets into 3 players there and losing the gunfight. 2 down now. G2 Esports having a little bit of a problem.
Astriel still here, not able to get the secret in time. 7 seconds to touch this A zone. Time still bleeding. Kenny up top. Is he able to get the second one? Place his life. Kremp has to stay on the objective, and he's got Spart watching over him, so still a chance here for Cloud9. Slim, but it's there.
The rest of the bodies trying to take up positions, trying to defend that player on the way. It's never easy. One player slips through, they might get for it as well, but that's the player going to slip. But no, they still have the Overwatch. Sib is just gunning down anybody who dares to look at his teammate. That second tick is now in. Will they get the third? There's only one player who's going to be even closer. I think it's going to be Astriel, who may try and make this one happen as well. And he finds one of the Sib, but that's going to be it. Another minute onto the clock. Astriel will find 2 onto his streak, but already that has been broken.
You need these kills right now if you're Astriel. That's your one job, to at least deny reinforcements over towards this B zone, isolate these players on the map. Astriel's at least good for 1. It gives time for the rest of the team to clear out this B zone, neutralize this segment. It's 9 playing 8 with a minute left on the clock. So there's a chance here from both teams to slow things down and look for a way in. And I got my eyes on Kremp. He's going for the full flank.
Kremp just trying to look for a player. Desperate to look for a player, any player. Unfortunately, they find him before he finds them, and only 4 lives remaining now on the Cloud9. G2 will have lost that A point, but it looks like they will win this round of control. There's only a 2 versus 7, and the players on Cloud9 are good. I'm not sure they're that good.
Well, Sib's going to be double chowed out. Things going to wind down. Still get the full cap over towards A, so you're walking away with something. Cloud9 off the attack. They look sharp for the moment, but you have to give some at least respect over towards G2 for what they're able to do in the shutdown. Astriel baiting the players over towards arches, slowing things down completely, isolating the players on that A-B zone for your reinforcements to clear it out, and they do it so well. So many times that we see these players going 4 down on the defense, and I think one thing that is really making the difference is Kenny's performance on this map. I mean, this is lights out from a player you really needed to see a performance like this from. He is flying at them quite literally, and Kenny, he had them in a spawn trap there. 24 and 16, he's playing great in this map 3.
Well, let's find out if Kenny can be the difference maker. Can they find anything else? And already first blood for them as well. Gwyn will get 1 back, but the rest of his team are gone, and Astriel will find a second. And now they will strike already onto that A point. Few players push forward as well, and this is what they're doing a little bit better. G2 Esports will now look for the players off the respawn. You don't have to defend that player in point if all the enemy team are already dead. And Nero finding another kill. Geo finds 1, and Nero with a heroic second on his 4 streak now means that they are in prime position to end this here and now.
Filthy plays coming out from Nero on that slide. Omnidirectional movement coming in effect all the way towards the end of the year. A-zone captured with 2 minutes and 10 seconds to get to B. This is the best we've seen on a chance towards the attacking side. G2, they want to get this done in 4. They had a good chance to get this one here, Bryce, and they are locked into this map to keep it going.
Already managed to get a bit of back here as well as Kenny. Still 27 and 16, not able to get that second kill. Cloud9, just a little bit of a breath, just a little bit of an opportunity now to punish them, get them back. Do not let them get back into B.
Sib on the draw, he's got the jackal out. So Cloud9 able to at least find some stability in this game. Still lots of clock though to be working with. Minute 35 to burn. And that's where you look at somebody like Kremp to keep all the attention on him. Play that game of hide and seek and see if G2 will fall for the bait.
Let's see. At the moment, Spark just trying to deflect here, but picks incorrectly. The issue they've now got is with so much time remaining, Cloud9 cannot afford to make a single mistake, and Kenny is looking to farm again. Only finds one this time as well, but Gwyn doing the same on the other side will fall. Opportunity here now for G2 to get onto this point and stop the clock.
The issue is they've made no progress on B. There's a minute left, only a 2-life lead. This is starting to become a little worrisome for G2. They've left a little bit too much open on the map. Estrel's gonna make the play. Can he stay alive? No, Spart is there. 3 go down. Geo off the spawn, at least able to clear out Spiral, but Spart's gonna be spotted in secret, and they have to take him out of this position.
Spart's already got one and still dancing around them. Eventually, those two players will manage to get hold of him. 30 seconds to go. Maybe one good push from G2, but maybe 2 bad ones if they're quick enough. Sib already taking down Estrel. Players reacting to that one all over the stage. Got to stop the clock here. You can see already Nero going towards the point. Has to get onto it already. Taken down straight away by Spark. The kills are not going their way. And unfortunately, everybody dropping. And it does mean we'll be going to a round 5 as Cloud9 shut this down.
2 minutes and 10 seconds, and it's still not enough for G2 to close out the attack. Nero in the 1v2. No time to make anything more out of that than just a couple of kills at the end of the round. We go to a round 5. Bryce, objectives are tied right now in this game, and that's going to leave things open for round 5. Who's going to get the defense? It comes down to the kills. Obviously, Kenny, he has been carrying that load for the team, farming Cloud9 across a couple of these rounds in play, but for the rest of them, has it been enough to give G2 this last defense? See if they can force this game 4, keep the series going.
Well, here we go.
It hasn't.
That is an interesting one, and it does mean that they have to change something up. Here comes the push. Already Gwyn finds that first blood. He's done it a million times. He gets straight out by Nero straight away. And if you're a G2 fan or a G2 player, you're right now thinking we've got to do something different. We managed to get A beautifully last time and then did nothing onto the B point. Will they go for B a little bit earlier here and try to get the blender going? They were in a good position, but Spark ripping Geo there still continues to open this map.
That's the thing. You just haven't seen any team get a good setup over towards this B zone. Every single time you do, it seems like the rest of your team is far behind you and just late on that setup. Geo's going to find another double kill over towards this A zone. It's at least going to stall out the time. Spart blocking off arches. That is funneling G2 over towards this A zone where Sib up top, he is having a field day.
Just looking for it, Sib just throwing bullets through wood. Already just trying to keep the pressure back onto him here. G2 Esports making a little bit of progress on Nero and Kenny up onto this map here as well. Gwyn's going to be the player out in the trenches. And you couldn't ask for a better play here for Cloud9. He has been doing so much work across this map, but he will fall as well. And now Cloud9 reinforcing in depth. G2 Esports still looking to get this A under control for the extra minute.
And there it is. Capture comes through, 3-life lead. Now for G2, you just cannot over-aggress into this B zone. You don't want to jump the gun. See if you can catch some of these players on mistakes, open up some kills, and then get onto the setup.
Geo looking everywhere for players, has been spotted a little bit. Kremlin Spot already cutting down his options as Sib takes him down as well. Just one player going to be left out into this field. It will be Nero. He is alone. I don't even think they're really reacting to his presence. He will get onto this point. This is a good play. This will pull players away from putting your players into spawn. Unfortunately, it has not worked.
No, your spawn is just trapped right now. It's another 3 down. Spark on the aggressive angle towards the tree. Quinn with a nade to back him up. A minute on the clocks. Lives have completely shifted in favor of Cloud9, taking over the series once again, silencing what looked like the G2 comeback. And you got to dig deep to figure this one out. G2 are throwing lives away.
They only have 6. They are still in spawn. They need to trade somewhat efficiently going into this one, but Gwyn finds one and the second. Doesn't have the bullets for the third as Kenny takes him down, but it doesn't really matter. It's now a 2 versus 12. Cloud9 have destroyed G2 Esports in this final round of control and in the series in total.
This is the Cloud9 we wanted to see off this change. Lights out performance to kick off EWC inside of Group A. They are going to move on in the winner's bracket for this GSL group and send G2 down to have a little bit of a rougher go in the start of this tournament. What a change of pace from this team with Gwyn on the roster. They look reformed.
Yeah, 100%. Looked way better than we were expecting coming into it. I thought this would be a closer match, but truthfully, only the control was close. Everything else was all about Cloud9. And this begs the question, the most important question. How good are Cloud9 in the entire tournament? How much further they want to go? Realistically, this is a great sign for them.
And that's the question I had even after map 2, is this is how you're playing. You are dominating through the search and destroy and the hard point. How much further can you go throughout it? It's the unknown for this team, considering when you look at Cloud9 in general over the course of the year, it's been despair. And now you look into EWC, Gwyn is on fire, and he is backed by a strong support system with Sib playing well, with Kremp